Hi, I'm Scott Maddox with Smoky Mountain Harley-Davidson. Tonight we're going to take a little look back into our past. We're going to talk to some old guys who have a lot of Harley-Davidson history. They're going to share some of their stories with us. I hope you enjoy.
We'd run the short track at Santa Fe. And Neil, he won a lot at Santa Fe. And he was unpredictable. You never knew what the man was going to do. But we ran the two-strokes, Yamahas and Bull Tacos, and they'd get hot like you wouldn't believe. And Neil would come off the racetrack and want to work on his motorcycle, and he'd lay it down on the ground and pour gasoline on it to cool it off. It wouldn't catch on fire, but he'd pour gasoline on it. He said, "Oh, that's the fastest way to cool it off. It evaporates and cools it off." Well, everybody go running for hydrant.
6 years old. We lived on a farm on the other side of Winton City. And I was planting one Sunday afternoon. I was planting on the creek that went by the road. I heard something coming. I never heard nothing like it. We come up, this guy riding a motorcycle. I didn't even know what a motorcycle was. I'd never seen one. That just embedded in my brain. I reckon it stayed. So my only brother was killed in the Battle of the Bulge when I was 15. So that was rough, you know. But I also wanted a motorcycle, so we heard his body was being shipped back in March of '49. I knew this guy had this 38 knuckle for $325. And I told Dad, said, "I'd like awful well to get that." He said, "Well, I'll help you get one." So that's when I got that 38 knuckle.
Yeah.
When the guy brought it down on Saturday, you could hear it for miles dead straight. He went over in town and stopped, and I thought, "What's going on here? I got the money." So I started walking over and I met him. I told him, I said, "I need to go to Loudon and tell my aunt and uncle about it, my brother being shipped back." He said, "Yeah, we'll go down there." So he took down there. We got ready to come back. Said, "Here, you ride us back."
Yeah.
I'd never rode one. They'd been on one twice for a mile. Got on there.
Rode on.
Yeah. And we come back old 72 over yonder, which was on the lake. Now I brought him back and didn't have no trouble. I was on my own from then. I didn't have to learn to ride.
Yeah.
I just somehow I knew. I don't know why. Yeah.
No, I think the first time I ever rode one, a buddy of mine was older than me, and I was going to junior high school, and he said, "I got my brother's motorcycle. Come over to senior high, and we'll take a ride on it. I'll have it up there in the parking lot." So I got up there. I don't remember how I got there, hitchhiked or whatever. I don't think I even had a car. I was 15. And he said, "There it is." Showed me how to start it. I kicked it and started it. Said, "This is how you put it in gear." I put it in gear, shoved it forward, got it in gear, and I rode it around all of lunch hour. And he left. And I just kept riding around and riding around. That so much must have been so hot it was ready to melt, because this is a pretty good sized parking lot. And I kept riding. Then I pulled it in and it died. And then I guess when I pulled it in, I rocked the clutch back. And then I kept kicking it, it wouldn't start. I didn't know you had to engage the clutch the first damn time around. That was my first ride, but I didn't want to get off of that damn thing. I got that breeze in my face, and it ruined me for the rest of my life. I've had to do that forever. It was just the breeze in your face.
First time ever I rode, and I was, I think, a senior in high school. We lived on a little farm over there in West Knoxville, and I got to ride. He'd help me on it, and I could ride it around in the pasture field. That's where I learned to ride, in the pasture field. And you know, after so long, you can ride around, and it wasn't no big deal. Hell, I drove a cattle in on that motorcycle, and finally, you know, when he'd leave, of course, he had a key. He'd take that key. And I learned how to hot wire that thing. I made me a wire.
All right.
And I could hot wire that thing and just ride it. And finally I got out on the road, and that's when my mama raised more cane to show dogs to jump over when I hit the road. But she didn't say too much as long as I was in the field. But anyway, that's the first time ever I rode.
It's either a 125 or 165 popper, we call them, you know.
Yeah.
And in Townsend, because I'm from Townsend, and they wasn't exactly the center of the damn world. And they brought one up there, my uncle did, throwed it down, and we started riding it. It's dirt road there, you know, where I lived on Cedar Creek. So I rode it behind the house up in the holler and back on the road and go about a mile. We wore that motorcycle out totally. Me and my cousin and uncle. And then he brought us a JB Sachs. You know, you remember that? Which was a damn like a dresser for us.
German.
You shifted on the damn.
Yeah, it shifted up
Yeah.
and down, Lord.
But it, you know, I mean, it was a 125, but it seemed like it'd do 100 miles an hour. Right?
Yeah.
We wrecked that son of a bitch.
They seemed a whole lot faster than they were.
They were. They did, didn't they? And that was it for me. My dad had like a Mechanics Illustrated or Popular Mechanics and had a picture of a motorcycle in there. I cut that out and put it on my wall in my bedroom when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And that's all I thought about until I got the money to buy one.
Yeah. Another feeling.
I think some people are just born to ride motorcycles.
I think so, like I said.
What gave me the bug for motorcycling, I was about 6 years old, and the girl next door had a guy that was visiting her, and he was on a Indian Chief. So I didn't own a motorcycle of my own. I rode a few. Guy took over a paper route for had a Harley 125, and I rode on the fender. It didn't even have a seat, so I rode on the back
That
fender.
wasn't no big
And I
thing
thought,
back then.
boy, this thing's pretty
No.
tough for carrying me around on the fender. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
What happened once you got off the fender?
my butt hurt.
So you know how it feels to be a chick.
Yeah. But anyway, the bike just amazed me that it would carry two people
Yeah.
and one on the fender like that. And it
Yeah.
was a small motorcycle.
But
So I rode friends' bike along, but I didn't own my own. My mother and dad just forbid me to ever have a motorcycle.
I know about that.
Yeah. So I was about 30 and I already had a family going when I bought my first motorcycle. But it wasn't a Harley, but I always wanted a Harley.
thing I like more about it than anything is the stories you could tell about old bikers back in the day.
Oh, hell, oh, yeah. I remember that
You
day.
feel me? Yeah, I've been riding about 3 months, and I thought I better get my license. And these boys was riding around, Homer and Hugh, some of them, said, you go down there to get them. Said, if they ask you if that's ever got you down, you better tell them it has, or they won't give them to you. I thought he was pulling my leg, you know. So I took my neighbor down to get his car license, and I went up to that patrolman and I said, I'd like to get my license thing for motorcycle. He looked at me and said, everything ever got you down? I said, yeah. He said, well, you know how to ride then. Yeah, took a rubber stamp.
I drove in up there when the highway patrol office was right there on Kingston Pike, where Cumberland comes in. And I rode in there one day on my motorcycle. Hell, I'd been riding 2 or 3 years, maybe longer than that. And told him I'd like to get my license stamped for a motorcycle. He said, well, I'll stand right here and you ride out there to Ayers Hall and I'll watch you. So I rode out there and back, and bam, he stamped that thing. That's all there was to it.
I didn't have to have a motorcycle.
You just had to say you've been
Just 20 or 30 years, I never had a motorcycle license in
No.
Missouri, just a license. And then I moved to Sturgis, South Dakota for a year and a half. So I changed my license. That wasn't no problem. And when I decided to move back to Missouri, I came back there and damned if they didn't make me take a test.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because I had transferred it to South Dakota. And when I come back, I couldn't pass the damn test. I couldn't pass the reading test, all the things they said. Oh no, I wouldn't do it that way. I rode this way. Didn't matter to them. I didn't answer the right damn question. So they failed me 4 times before I finally sat down and read the damn book. I'm the last guy to read the damn book. I get a new bike or anything, and I never read the damn book first.
I don't remember a lot that happened to me before 1982, other than what people tell me. You know, I got knocked out a lot. I don't remember a lot, but we're talking. He said, "Oh," he said, "Scrapman." And I said, "No, Stratman." He said, "Scrapman." I said, where are you getting Scrapman? He said, "Well, don't you remember?" He said, "We were at Henderson, Kentucky, running a half mile." And he said that we'd all run at Indianapolis like the weekend before, and Southgate's bike started tying up towards the end of the race. And like Southgate always does, he goes home, leaves it on the trailer, and we drive to Henderson, Kentucky to run on Saturday night. And we get up there, the bike blew up. So he's running around the pits, and he said something to Marlon Hart, and Marlon said, "Boss, says Ron's got a bike over there in the back of that old trailer." And he said, "No, there's no bike in there. There's garbage in there, scrap." And he said that's where he started calling you Scrap. He borrowed the motorcycle from you.
And he won the main event. I finished second. On my borrowed gold star. Yes.
And he got out of the scrap pile,
I
he said.
can't believe it. Darren, the first time I ever raced at Springfield, I went down and practiced, went down the back straightaway, and I thought, shit, this is pretty good. I'm looking around and I look down, the front axle nut's still here. I'm like, you know, it's a mile now. You're on the racetrack quite a while. Seems like an eternity compared to short tracks and half mile. You look around, saying, "Yeah, looking where's the next guy at and stuff," and you're all crouched in, and pretty soon you're getting close to the corner. So you stand up, and you're loose a half mile of scramble, and you just got a loose handle on it and everything. And the goddamn wind liked to knock me off. I almost fell off going into the first corner on the back straightaway. I just grabbed for everything to just stay on the damn thing.
A lot of you have good road trip stories, but I took my first trip across country in '99 and went from here to California by myself. Nobody going with me. And it was really a great trip. Best trip I ever made was by myself. Anyway, I got out to California and the new Harley models were coming out. And I was on a 95 fuel injected Ultra. And since the new bikes were coming out, I think it was August, and I wanted to see what was being offered. So I went down to the San Jose Harley dealer.
Oh boy.
Big dealer.
Yeah.
Big dealer. And I walked in and was just looking at new models, and I spied a used police model, that blue and white that they sold to officers, you know, not for service duty, but.
Right.
And I really liked that color combination. I said, got a salesman. I said, "Y'all take a trade on that bike?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it only had 10,000 miles." He said, "What do you got?" I said, "I've got that 95 Ultra sitting out there." And he said, "Well, let me have the key and I'll go look at it." And he went out there and he come back in and he said, "Is that mileage right?" I said, 82,000. He said, "Yeah." He says, "Is that right?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I couldn't give you anything for that bike." He said, "We ain't ever seen one with that many miles on it." That was San Jose.
Yep. When you rode in the early 50s, mid 50s even, you knew everybody in town.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Even in big town.
Oh,
in
yeah.
St. Louis, I knew damn near everybody that rode a motorcycle. And it's just different now.
The greatest ride I've ever done, it started in 2004. And doing the Kyle Petty ride.
Yeah.
I rode that 7 times, thanks to Scott.
You think that's,
For the first one,
Yeah. I
you
believe
think
it
that's the
was 4.
furthest you ever rode in one sitting or
Yeah,
something?
hell, I rode from here to Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And then we went to Washington State 2 or 3 times in Southern California, and then we started at Bar Harbor, Maine, and rode down to nearly to Key West.
Yeah.
But that's the greatest ride you ever rode on in your life, man. It's just a great bunch of people.
Yeah.
Escorted all the way through. You don't have to stop for no red lights, no stop
No,
signs,
no,
no nothing, buddy.
Well, my 80th birthday, which is a year and a half away, I'm gonna ride my motorcycle to Fairbanks, Alaska and back.
wow.
Now, I've rode to Anchorage, Alaska and back, but that's
Well,
my,
Is that part of dirt
Is that your
road?
bucket list?
yep, that's my bucket list.
What bike
I
are
wanna
you
make
gonna
it.
ride?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
I don't really have a bucket list.
It don't matter. It don't.
I
I don't
rode
either.
so
Any
damn
late
long,
model
so
Harley
far.
will make it there with good tires,
Yeah.
you know. That's a no-brainer.
If they got a good highway through all the way up there now?
Yeah.
There's a couple of stretches, last time I was there was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And there's a stretch up there, out where you go from Canada into Alaska, that gets pretty rough, that last hill area you go over. And I rode up there with Harley dealer from Anchorage and my old buddy who passed away now, the Harley dealer from Des Moines, Iowa. The three of us rode up there, and we got to that last stretch, and it was sleeting, snowing,
I've done
and
that.
it was, I tell you what, I led all the way till then, and I backed off then, and that damned old Barry from Alaska had a bald ass tire on the back, I mean, just like a baby's butt. Not a wrinkle in that tire at all. And he led through all that stuff on into Anchorage. I couldn't believe it. I was scared shitless. I was like, I wasn't gonna do that. And I couldn't follow him. He was just on the gas all the time. And there was no tread on the back of that tire whatsoever. And I said, why didn't you get a tire back in wherever we, 2 or 3 stops, we left from Milwaukee. I rode from St. Louis to Milwaukee out there. And he said, no, I ain't gonna pay nobody for a tire. I'll get home and get one of my own tires out of my own shop. I thought sure in the hell he was not gonna make it. I mean, I would have bet on it. But damned if he didn't go. He was in front of me all the time.
Hi, this is Scott Maddox with Smoky Mountain Harley-Davidson. I hope you enjoyed some of the big tales we heard here tonight at the shed. Stay tuned, we've got more to come. Thank you.